Hey guys, it's the O.P.O.V podcast. I'm Jay Johnson here with my co-host Top and Kenya. What is going on?
Nothing.
Chilling, doing, busy. No, not really chilling, but busy.
Yeah. So what's going on with y'all?
Uh,
Mm,
just keep running it back and forth to the hospital. That's about it. Working, trying to get things situated.
Toby, we can't see nothing but the top half of your face.
All right. Well, I'll try to change it.
Kenya, what's going on with you?
um, Nothing. I feel like just the usual. Um,
We had a busy weekend.
um, I
You
know I'm just coming off of vacation. I had a few days off on vacation. Took the family on a family vacation, which was very, very nice. We had a good time as always, and came back. It was the 4th of July. We had a little cookout for the 4th of July, which was really nice, I thought.
what?
And then I went back to work and I had to remember all my passwords. So the next time I take off for a few days, I have to write down my passwords. Because, they have you change them every so often and then you have to change the format. It was just too much. So now, like when I went back to work, I had to change my passwords, get back into my systems, and I have to write down my shit because I really forgot. And it was just like, wow. And I wasn't
Yeah.
even, it wasn't like I was gone for an extended period of time, So,
Yeah. Yeah, I know
uh,
that the cookout that we had on July 4th, the one that you planned, even my body was kind of stiff. After that, we had such a good time. So I could imagine how tired you were after that because you did way more work than me.
yes. Just hold on one quick second. I know this is shitty. Hold on.
See, see, guys, we got a couple of y'all on here and see how my co-host left me. It's okay. I'm gonna keep the thing going. We're supposed to be talking about Sha'Carri Richardson today and Bill Cosby. So I'm hoping that my co-host return expeditiously in Ti's voice because we got a lot to talk about today. There's one of them. Tough. All right, Tom. So what you gonna do? You gonna tell us about the progress with the baby?
Uh, she's doing good. She's doing good. It's still a long road, to her coming home, but yeah, she's doing very good.
So for those of you who were not here for our last podcast, Top had a baby. The baby came unexpectedly 2 months early, and so I was asking about her progress.
She's a beautiful angel, but it's a lot of running back and forth to the hospital. The hospital, it's not like they should uh,
Sorry.
took her to somewhere closer. Uh,
Yeah. Have you decided to take paternity leave?
um, nah,
Why?
because I don't want to.
That's a good idea.
What paternity leave?
Yes.
I think so, and so does his lady, but he apparently doesn't feel
I
like
don't know, but you should stop asking me every time you see me.
because I feel like it's good. Like
Okay,
you guys
but
are worn out
if you
from.
don't gotta keep asking me that.
I haven't asked you on the podcast yet, so now I'm asking on the podcast.
But you ask me when you see me every time. I'm not taking that. Right.
Can you answer the question? Why is he always so combative with me and no one else?
Because that's your brother.
Kills me anytime. But
Because
whatever.
you won't keep asking me the question until you get the answer you want out of me.
No, I'm not.
Instead of just
I'm only
letting me
asking
say,
because we're recording. Can we
instead of
move
letting
on?
me say my
Can we
opinion.
move on? Can we move on?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't want to argue about this really. So what do we got first? Which I want to get into.
Before we get into our into our conversation, I just want to say to the local people, especially in our community, to please get out and vote. Come this November for our local school board elections, city council, all of that. But particularly for the school board election, I need people to really stand up and get out and vote. And I actually need them to show up at the next school board meeting to voice their opinion about a situation that occurred the other day within our school district. So
you want to get into
we don't gotta get into it now unless somebody is there. Hey, that wants to get into it. If there's anybody that's out there that wants to get into it, we could get into it about it. But if not, we can move on. I feel like people need to wake up, and see what's going on.
What was said though, I feel like it was something I didn't know.
Right.
I feel like it was interesting.
It was, yes. And the fact that a special meeting took place and there was all of these circumstances that happened in the community wasn't aware of it. He called for the hearing of the citizens. There was no citizens there because the citizens weren't aware of a special meeting. Usually they don't have any board meetings in July because they're on their little summer break or whatever, and they resume them back in August. I know that because I've been going to the school board meetings for the last few years.
Who called the meeting?
The school board.
So
why?
Because it was a personnel issue. The personnel issue was that the superintendent resigned, only to be rehired at that special meeting with a new contract for more years. For more years without, any evaluation, any say so. The job wasn't posted. Like it's just the community didn't have a chance to speak about it. We don't know what's in this contract that they extended for 5 years.
They said they did an evaluation on it.
Yeah. So I'm just confused, and I got a few questions, and I feel like the community should have a few questions as well.
Yeah, I mean, just based off of the information I know, it seems like it was a dirty, underhanded move. Only because there's a new school board that's about to be elected.
Right.
He only had but so much time left, so it was a dirty, underhanded move to circumvent the whole process.
Right. Yes. So the people in the community, I'm telling you guys, it's so important. It's so important.
Well, kudos to who actually called it out, because that's something that we wouldn't even do about. I know I wouldn't do it.
Absolutely, and that's exactly why she has my vote, because that's exactly what we need. We need to be informed of anything that happens over at the school because our children goes there. So if there's a decision being made like that, the community should be aware. The community should be aware, and I know for a fact that the school board does not know half the shit that be going on, or they choose not to know. But citizens could have spoke up or can speak up.
A lot of issues do y'all be feeling like is racial issues or nepotism issues?
Here, I feel like, and this is just I feel like most of it is nepotism issues.
I do feel like it's a little bit of both, because I feel like it is disproportion for our brown children as far as like disciplines and their in the learning and things like that. Like they do have a very diverse a group of children up there at that school. So
so do you feel like nepotism can turn into racism when it's
it's a very thin line for me. It's a very thin line.
Because it could be nepotism, but that repeating cycle could turn it into racism because it's not allowing any.
It's a very thin line. It's a very thin line.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, I agree. It's both.
I've never thought about it like that, but I guess our city is real good for that, because it might not be somebody who's necessarily racist as a group, but the nepotism system that they're in is like controlling who could be where.
And I just want people to know that Yeah. Well, see, you attended the school. I didn't attend the school over here. So yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like, the community, like, just because they say and do things the way that they do doesn't make it right. Like, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people will sit in silence and let things happen, assuming because it came from a particular person, because he said it or she said it or they did it before, or it's been going on for so long, that it's right. It's not right. It's not right. And there's things, that's why there's laws and policies and things like that set in place. You know what I'm saying? Not for them to get there and do whatever they want to do when they get there and change as they go along.
Right. And they know that like certain portions of the community are not really actively involved and take advantage of that.
Right.
And knowledge is power. So if we're not
knowledge is power.
Knowledge to even know what's wrong or right.
Right. So it's very I'm here to say that you really on the outside looking in, you really don't know a lot of the things that goes on inside. You just trust that everybody's doing the right thing, and that's not always the case. You know what I'm saying? People just drop their guard because it's the school, and the people in the school they have to, but it's not like that. It's not like that. And I don't think that people will really get a good look at it until something happens where they're more involved. Something happens with their kid at the school where they have to be involved with the other administrators and the school boards and the things like that. They wouldn't have, and I can't even get out an idea.
Do we have boosters in McKeesport?
Boosters for
like people who manipulate the system by paying money from the outside in.
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like everybody has boosters as far as like.
If you go down to Texas, it's like there's well-known boosters down there who like basically even pay for like the football stadiums and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I wonder who the fat cats in McKeesport are who's really making the decisions.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of hands in a whole lot of places that I just feel like, is if you doing the right thing, then okay, but you can't be doing shit that, first of all, that's against the law or against the policies, and you can't pick and choose who you do that shit to. And you can't just assume that everybody's the same, so you could do it to everybody. And that shit's not cool. So I just think that the community should have had a chance to be involved in if there's a special meeting called, I feel like there has to be a certain amount of time to even get the information out to the community. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they notice we live in a world of social media, and as important as it is for the superintendent to resign and then to be rehired, I feel like the community needed to know that. So they should have put a blast out on the phone like they do whenever your kid is late for school, or, they trying to get information early let out. I feel like the community should have been aware of that for sure, because that's huge. That's huge.
What was the time frame in between them announcing the meeting to when the meeting happened?
I didn't know nothing about the meeting until I seen it on Facebook that it had happened the day before. And that's what happened.
That's when I seen it, is when it already happened. I'm like, that's weird. But
and I do follow their social media pages, whereas if they would have made a post on their social media page, I would have been able to see that. I'm assuming I see everything else.
Yeah, so basically it was definitely intentional the way everything went down to not have members of the community attend the special meeting. From the information that I read, it was a matter of the current superintendent resigning because he had maybe approximately a year and a half left in his current term. and
he couldn't renew it.
Right, he couldn't. He had to resign in order to get renewed under the current board for a 5-year term.
It was a loophole they found.
Yes.
So they had him resign.
What was the loophole?
Have him resign for under 24 hours and get him rehired so he
can so since he resigned, he's a new hire and he has a fresh 5-year term.
Well, we don't. What's in the contract?
I don't know.
And why is it 5 years and not the typical 2 years or 2.5 years, however long it is? Why is it 5 years now? It wasn't 5 years before.
It wasn't? How long has he been?
Was it?
Before? If he has a 1.5 years on his term right now, how long is he? Well, now.
And how was they able to do that and all the board members wasn't present?
My thing too,
maybe because he picked the board members to come that he knew was going to solidify the vote. So if you only need, how many board members are there?
9.
There's 9 board members. If 5 was present and you know they're going to vote for you, that's a majority vote. That's all you need.
See, my thing too, but the person who did the post, they said, well, allegedly that they didn't even evaluate. Like
that's what I was just about to say about the process of it. So he resigned. That like he can't automatically like. Where is the rule or the law or that says that he can do that? Like we don't even know. Like he didn't. Did he do those things before he was able to be rehired? Does everybody get that opportunity to resign to be rehired 24 hours?
Yeah, that's crazy.
After.
Mm-hmm. Who advised them of this? Because is it something that he came up with it on his own?
Who's running against him? Whoever's running against him need to. Yeah.
I mean, they could have. There wasn't even like they didn't even make the job available. They didn't even make the job available for anybody else. So if anybody else did have the credentials or the experience or wanted to apply, they didn't even have the opportunity to do that. How?
Where's Andy Sheehan when you need him?
Right. Andy Sheehan come through.
I feel like there's just a whole bunch of unanswered questions that I feel like people need to be asked at the next school board meeting. We need to hold the 5 school board members that was there. We need to ask them questions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My first
and hold them accountability because I'm trying to see, and it's all right. It's all right to know what was in that contract, and we should have had the chance to hear that before he was rehired.
Mm-hmm.
And they're supposed to be for the people.
Like, what was his evaluation for the year? Did he have a good evaluation? Everybody's saying he did such a good job because he was able to keep the kids in school during COVID. Like, it was a fucking disaster. There was COVID up there every week.
Well, my big thing is, like, who gave you that advice to resign and then wait? Like, that got to be illegal. And get rehired within 24 hours.
Somebody advised that.
They should have been told you to retire. I mean, resign. You should have resigned.
This shit don't even sound right. It just don't even sound right.
It sounds dirty. It sounds underhanded, just like it was. That's exactly how it sounds.
I didn't want to make it a topic. I just wanted the community to be aware of what was going on. We really need to really stand up and get these answers. If you care about your kids' future in this school district, I feel like it's very, very important to be very involved in what is going on because there's a lot of things that goes on that people have no idea about. Those school board seats, those people are in those seats because of us. Because of us. The decisions that they're making, if those are not your decisions, you got to utilize your vote.
Right. And what took place now, it just seems like because there are school board seats that are going to be filled in November. It seems like it was a way of backdooring the process, because
Yes.
that this
Yes.
new school board, the chances are slim of you probably getting reelected or reappointed, or
Yes.
maybe.
Yes.
It's a
So
Yes.
it was his way of circumventing the process, because he wasn't really sure if he
Yes.
would be able to get reappointed as superintendent.
Yes.
No.
I feel like it was. I feel like it was very inappropriate for not the superintendent, but the president of the school board to even say that didn't happen. But clearly, whenever you watch the video, that is what the whole meeting was about. So he didn't resign, or he did resign, because he clearly made it clear that he didn't resign. But yes, he did. Yes, he did. Because that's what you said. So which one is it? It can't be both.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say that I watched the full school board meeting, but I definitely watched some of it. And they clearly said that they accepted the resignation. It's on YouTube.
It's on their channel. It's on their channel. And I guess that was their way of letting the public be aware of what happened, what was already done, which I feel like the community should be, if your kid goes to the school up there, I feel like you should have a few questions of the process, and what took place, and like what's going on, because this shit is serious. Like it really is.
Sure, it is.
Yeah.
For sure.
And this is just a prime example of the things that, when you're not involved, go on without your knowledge.
Yes, it is.
And this is like a smaller level of, can you, like, how terrifying is it that this is a tiny, small level of what goes on the state level, on the.
Oh, that's what I was about to say, because it's happening everywhere. I'm sure every community, they all have their own politics, because that's just what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? So whatever community that you live in, and you got to vote for the people who is in those positions, you need to utilize it, and you need to get everybody that you know that can use a vote to get this, to get things the way that they should be, which is just right and fair, and follow the policies.
Yeah.
In the laws, in the rules. That's it. Like, nobody's asking for nothing special.
Exactly.
Just a fair playing field.
Just the fair, yeah. Just be fair. Just be fair. People got a problem with being fair. Why?
Now that could go right into our next subject, Jessica.
What? Speaking of fairness, Sha'Carri Richardson.
Yeah,
yes.
Well, Sha'Carri Richardson. I don't know if. You may not know her if you were living under a rock, but if you weren't living under a rock, you have heard her name. She is somebody who took America by storm by
running.
Was it the 100-meter dash that
for LSU? Yeah. Okay.
She eclipsed her opponents and qualified for the Tokyo Olympics but then she quickly became America's sweetheart. Which unfortunately also quite abruptly came to an end when she tested positive for marijuana. She received a 30-day suspension, in which she would have, after the suspension would have been over, she still would have qualified for the relays in Tokyo. Unfortunately, the relay team decided to not invite her to compete in the Olympics with them. So, do you guys have thoughts on the Sha'Carri Richardson situation?
I just, I pray for somebody's, make sure they hope that they don't fall into a big depression from this, because this is the creme de la creme, basically. So for you not to be able to finish your dream is very hurtful for me and Americans, let alone her. So my prayers and thoughts go out for her. But rules are rules. So I'm not. No.
Rules are rules, and I'm not like devastated, only because like rules are rules. She knows what the rules are, and she's young enough that she still has time to compete. in another Olympic Games. So hopefully she learns from this and she comes back bigger, better, stronger than ever so that she can compete in the next Olympic Games. Besides, right now there's a spike in COVID cases in Tokyo, so they're not even going to allow spectators.
No.
I'm wondering if they should cancel the games altogether.
Thank you. Well, I just was talking to somebody about this. Like, at the end of the day, move the games or don't even have them at all, because all it is going to bring. It's the perfect storm for whoever wants to spread COVID, because everybody else got to go back to their countries anyway.
Right.
Like, geez.
Well, I do think that she's young enough for her to bounce back. What I didn't like was all the criticism that came along with it, because she owned it right from the door. Like, she made a mistake. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And she's still a kid.
She's a young adult.
Yeah, like we did. I
yes.
did this, not even on that level. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't know. It's just people make.
If you watch the video, I feel like she owned it. Like, she gave us what she did. It was short and sweet, and that's just what it was. So we have to accept that. Like, you know what I'm saying? We have to accept what she said because she owned that. Moving forward, I feel like she owned it already, and she is accepting responsibility, so she will bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it wasn't her first time, but it was the first time that she won to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
People smoke weed all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she probably.
It was legal when she did it, where she did it, and all of those things, but it was on the rules. You know what I'm saying? It's not an enhancing performance drug for her. Obvious, it might be. Anybody got some of that Sha'Carri Loud?
Understand, like, to me, I definitely do understand the rules are rules, and but I also feel compassion for her, and I understand why she did it. You know, this for her to qualify for the Olympics under the circumstances that she did. From what I understand, she learned from a reporter that her biological mother had passed away, which is very devastating in and of itself. To have that and to have the pressure of the Olympic Games on you, that's a lot to handle, especially for a young person. Yeah. So I get it.
Yes. And we see it. We see how the young tennis player, she didn't go to the what was it that she Yes. To protect her peace and her mental. Like, you know, and I applaud her for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody can't handle that. And I'm just like, it could have been something worse. It could have been fentanyl. It could have been steroids, because people get caught with steroids in their system all the time in those Olympics, and they for years.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yes.
You guys, Sha'Carri, all of you guys, the Olympics ain't popping like that. No. I say we'll like black girl power, but you know, black girl magic. We love that and kill them. We won all the medals. We definitely want y'all to bring home all the medals. But at the end of the day, like, you could be a success doing something in America more, and we'll pay more attention to you than going over there and doing.
I think that the world just wanted to see her run. We just wanted to see. We wanted to see her run real quick.
So guess what?
We wanted to see her run
on the track. Period. ESPN is going to be covering her, so it don't matter if it's in the Olympics or in LSU. She's going to get covered. So these times will pass.
With you, I mean, let's be like, if we can all put this in perspective. Sha'Carri, did she have a good chance of winning in the Olympic Games? Yes, she did. But as far as qualifiers, she was not the fastest. There was a woman from Jamaica who was faster than her, and also a woman from Uganda. So she was up against those two as well. We did like how she overcame the odds, because I think like years earlier she had got smoked and then she come back. So this was like definitely a great redemption story to have it like overshadowed by this whole weed debacle. It was kind of
yes.
But I think another thing that I wanted to point out is that some people, Black people, are calling for the boycott of the Tokyo Olympics, and I say that is stupid. please do not boycott the Olympics, because we have phenomenal women such as Simone Biles who are still competing, and we want to make sure that we support them as much as we can. And there's other people who are competing who shouldn't have to suffer because of this person's bad decision. Ultimately, it was a bad decision on Sha'Carri's part.
It was a bad decision.
So I'll still be supporting, at least from what I know, Simone Biles, because she kills it every time.
Definitely,
I love her.
Definitely. Like, they're gonna bring home the medals, and that's the thing. We still got the elite black women. The Olympics is still gonna be American.
Yes.
We might not win all the gold, like most of the gold medals this year, but there's gonna be a lot, because we got a couple talented people that's still on the track, females. So I just don't. I'm going to pay more attention to her now, just period.
Yeah.
Now to see what she's doing. Nike didn't drop her. Like, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Nike.
So that little performance that she had, that was bigger than the Olympics to me. So, you know what I mean? It might look like a dark time to her now, but like you said, even if she went to the Olympics, ain't no telling if she would even medal. So
it was triumphant. It was her beating the odds. It was the underdog story that we all love to see.
So now she's a main man.
I'm sad that, like, her being America's sweetheart for that that amount of time came to an end, because I was definitely rooting for her. I'm still rooting for her. It's just sad that she won't be in the Tokyo Olympics like I would have hoped for her to be.
But I still think she's going to be America's sweetheart, because they still following her around with a camera. Like, she's going to get whatever track meets there's going to be coverage, just because.
Right, and she vows to redeem herself. She wants to win the World Cup next year, and you know there's all kind of accomplishments that she wants to achieve. This is just a small blip on, I feel like, her record. She has a big career ahead of her, and I wish her well.
Now, I ain't gonna compare her to football players, but she better not do that shit again.
Right. She better not do it.
Right. Right.
All right, now.
Yeah.
Better not do it again.
Right. I feel like she learned. I feel like she got it.
Yeah.
And she probably hit the weed thinking it was going to be out of her system, but it was that Sha'Carri. So it was a little, the strain was probably a little bit, and it took a little longer for it to get out of her system. Shit.
Yeah. Man, she probably smoking some Reggie.
I don't know.
So.
But yeah, best of luck to you, Sha'Carri. We are definitely rooting for you.
Yeah.
We believe that you have a bright and shining career ahead of you. Now.
Okay.
Bill Cosby. he was recently let out of prison after being convicted of sexual assault, drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constand. Do you guys have any thoughts about Bill Cosby being released?
I feel bad.
I do, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
Now, I mean, two things could be true. Like, I feel bad for the Andrea Constand person, but at the end of the day, like, the prosecutors was too big for their britches. They should have knew about that deal that he already made. So I feel like
they did.
They knew about it.
Cosby's a victim too, because he spent 2 years and 9 months in somewhere he shouldn't have been.
Mm-hmm.
So
again,
two things.
Do what's fair. Do what's fair. Do your job. An overzealous prosecutor. And he violated that man's civil rights. He violated his rights. Everybody has that rights, due process.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if they were so adamant and so sure that they can convict this man on the things that he allegedly did to these women, they should have been able to do it without doing something where it violated him in the process.
Yes, Ash. I heard about what Judge Joe Brown said. We're gonna get to that. I hope they watched the video because I sent them the video as well. You have any other thoughts?
I don't really have any thoughts except that there's two victims here. The real victims, the ones that's really telling the truth, and then Bill Cosby's also a victim. I feel like.
And from the very beginning, it was just like that shit never just set well. It didn't happen right. Like, you know what I'm saying? And now that we found out it didn't happen right. So
whoever that prosecutor was too desperate. Like somebody was telling them, like, you better. From what I heard, he allegedly ran on the fact that he would get a Bill Cosby conviction. When he ran for the office of prosecutor, that's what he ran on. So as a prosecutor, especially if you have any sort of experience, I feel like he knew that this would be the outcome. Yeah. But in manipulation of the public, you can say that you did deliver on what you. Do y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, so he did deliver.
You came, you did all you could to prosecute Cosby and to get that conviction. You got the conviction knowing that it would be overturned because you underhandedly violated the prior prosecutor's agreement. So you knew it would eventually be overturned, but you can't say that you did not deliver on your promise. That's my thoughts. Because if you guys remember, Cosby, he actually had a hung jury because they came to Pittsburgh and tried him, and when they couldn't get a conviction in Pittsburgh, they moved it out near Philly and did it again.
They did it again fast too.
And I feel like even with the first time, like it was some bullshit because I don't even think that Bill had representation there. It was like on some underlying shit. Even then, I don't even know why he even agreed to have that conversation with that first prosecutor.
Well, now, I understand it only because I think when it came to are you talking about initially like in 2005?
Yes.
I understand it only because maybe they did not have enough to bring criminal charges against him, but Andrea Constand filed the civil suit against him, right? And at that time, he ended up giving her close to $3.5 million. She got in 2006. But within that civil suit, there was an agreement made that gave him immunity going forward. Yeah. So I understand. I kind of like understand how everything happened. With the guarantee that you would not be able to be criminally charged in the future. So I understand that, and that's the thing, like at the time when he got convicted in 2018, I didn't, because you basically did like a somewhat of a double jeopardy type of thing on him. Where this conviction is solely based on the experience with Andrea Constand. It has nothing to do with the other victims. So in 2006, you settled the case with her. She got her $3.5 million, what have you. So that should have been done. The reason why you're bringing Andrea Constand back up is because her case specifically was the only one that was still in the statute of limitations. So you're trying to get this conviction because you know there's a public outcry for the hanging of Bill Cosby. Your objection, this is if you run on, I'm going to get Bill Cosby convicted, you're gonna try to get him by any means necessary.
Right. So, yes.
With that being, I know there's a lot of people who are upset in regards to the victims, but I think people need to get out of their feelings and understand that this was never ever about the victims. It was never about them. They don't care about the victims.
But they still don't want to see their accuser back on the streets, though. Or
they don't.
They accused back in the street.
They don't. But, and this is where we get into somewhat, because I don't know if you guys watched Judge Joe Brown's interview with Mark Lamont Hill or not.
Definitely did.
But
I did not.
People might be a little upset, but I kind of like agree with Judge Joe Brown in a sense that you have to be your own biggest advocate, right?
So, wait, what did he say? What did Joe Brown say?
Judge Joe Brown was basically saying that when it comes to the law, like we're not here to like protect people for being stupid. Like it just don't work that way. Which I wouldn't have said it that way, because I understand like the shame and fear and whatever else that could come from coming forward. But if there is a statute of limitations on the crime that has been committed against you, it is your duty to be your own biggest advocate. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody has victimized you in any way, I would hope that people can push through the guilt and the shame of all of that in order to come forward. Because
what was we saying when we was first talking about it? We had that conversation. Like I feel like if you like you have to let somebody know. Like you can't wait 25 years to say something happened. Like you know what I mean? Like that, it just don't make no sense. We had this conversation.
That better be the only thing you agree with, Judge Joe.
Well, that's why I didn't click on it.
He called them groupies. Judge Joe Brown did call them groupies, Sash. And to be honest with you, I don't disagree. I believe some of them were.
So
but I guess that's beside the point. I mean, were some of them groupies? Yeah, probably. But that doesn't mean that they still couldn't have been victimized also. I mean.
Because that's like what we was talking about with that show. What is that called? The morning show?
Yeah.
It's almost kind of like that. You know what I mean? Where girls they wanted to probably be around Cosby because of who he was. And when they got around him, like Judge Joe Brown said, he wasn't the only one giving people quaaludes, but that don't make it right either. So.
Right.
You know what, that doesn't make it right. And also I think this is something that I brought up a long time ago and that I've heard people saying today, like how many of us would be found guilty of things that we did years or decades ago based on the rule. The rules have changed. The norms have changed. Things have changed since then. Mm-hmm. So are you prosecuting me from something I did 20 years ago based on the norms and the things that we consider today? Because at that time, it was a different time.
Right.
I mean,
and isn't that what the I can't remember her name. The lady from the Fresh Prince was saying, like everybody knew that that Bill was doing that to women.
Janet, whatever.
People did know.
Yeah.
But and I think that the thing that annoys me about it is because you would hear different celebrities saying, because initially this thing picked up steam after Hannibal Buress had a stand-up comedy set about it. Before that, nobody was really talking about it, but you did hear people saying, well, it was like an open secret that Bill Cosby was doing this to women and nobody like said anything. Like
Harvey Weinstein.
Exactly. Jeffrey Epstein, all the little shit that they do that they know is wrong, and don't nobody say nothing.
Bill Clinton.
R. Kelly. Do y'all know we have talked about R.
Kelly?
We knew about R. Kelly specifically since Aaliyah. He probably was doing stuff before that, but nobody called for his arrest until this whole Lifetime documentary came out, and like we were all aware. To be honest, we were.
Yes.
So I mean, how much do we really care about the victims?
He got acquitted.
Who?
R. Kelly.
And then made a song with Jay-Z about it.
He did. Not guilty. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Like,
that's when the Me Too movement
Mm-hmm.
the Me Too movement caused a public outcry. It was like the prosecution moved because of the conviction in the court of public opinion.
Mm-hmm.
but even
Yes.
before that, I'm telling you, man, all of this got to do as far as from the bullying shit. When something after people was started saying it's not right, that even the beating your kids stuff. Once they start letting people beat their kids, like and people start getting the opening eyes as far as abuse go. And then the same thing that happened as far as it's just a trickle down effect. Like
Who
when you
said
start
that you can't beat
realizing,
your kid?
CYS.
CYS don't run shit in this motherfucker.
but what
Tell
I'm
you that
saying
right
is,
now.
there's a way that you
Never
raise your
did.
kids that you look that now you don't raise your kids how they used to raise them back in the 60s and 70s. Like, ain't nobody getting
I
beat.
mean, I'm not abusing my kids, but my kids have gotten whoopings. They'll get their ass whooped.
I mean, you might discipline them, but you ain't abusing them.
Right.
So,
But I ain't saying that there's not kids that weren't abused. I'm not saying that. But nobody's never going to ever be able to tell me that I can't do something that I birthed. Never.
You missing the point. What I'm saying is, in society, it's not acceptable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
the same thing with bullying. We all went to school was either the bully or got bullied. So like it was normal for us. They took that shit out of school super fast. Like the way society's working, it's like
Shit, bullying is still around. It's worse now.
10 years ago, you might if people bring up what you was doing 10 years ago, you might be considered a savage.
Yeah. But there is one other thing that I do want to mention regarding the Cosby thing. Another thing that got on my nerves about people once he was released from prison recently is people were talking about how he had been released on a technicality. It was not a technicality. He should have never went to prison based on the prior agreement with the previous prosecutor.
He probably
That's not a technicality.
That's a lawsuit. Like he spent two.
And he's suing them.
Yes.
So, I mean, I know people are outraged because of, as many people have been victimized by this man, but you have to get out of your feelings and understand that it was never about the victims. It was never about the victims.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stop trying to cancel people.
Prosecutors based on the public outcry and the conviction in the court of public opinion first.
Because they try to cancel Felicia Rashad.
They did.
Yes. They
did.
Like she can't have her opinion.
Right. It's crazy.
But I mean, I love me some Felicia Rashad. And that's still America's mom. So I don't know. But then Howard University made her apologize. They put out a statement saying that they weren't aligned with what she said, and
that's okay. That's okay. She kept her job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's okay. Like she just definitely her opinions is her opinions. But for her to even have to say that is whack. Like people shouldn't have been trying to call for her job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As long as she ain't drugging them and doing crazy stuff, let the lady keep her job in peace.
But do you think that Howard University was very careful with how they handled her? They did. I feel like they knew that if they fired her, their heads would be on a stake. Like Felicia Rashad is beloved in the Black community.
Well, somebody
I think they did just enough to say, hey, we're not aligned with her. She had to issue an apology, but they weren't willing to go as far as to fire her.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. But yeah, do you guys have any more thoughts on the Bill Cosby?
Not at all. I don't. I just
no.
I'm glad to see he's out of jail, but I do feel bad for the victims living through this
I do too, but I just feel like if
PTSD.
people again do what they're supposed to do, follow the rules and the laws and the policies that's put in place to protect people or whatever, then we wouldn't even be here.
Mm-hmm. And I think let this be a cautionary tale to anybody who has ever been victimized in any way. You have to be your own biggest advocate.
You have to be your own. Yes.
Do not wait till, because with this whole thing, it was all based on that one case that was within the statute of limitation, which was Andrea Constand.
And you would think that being that that Me Too movement was so big, I hope that they was, saying things like that, like so they could pass it on for people not to wait 25 years to speak up about something that happened to them. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, anything you do, you should always be your own biggest advocate, your own biggest cheerleader, anything. So, I just hope that people, take this as a cautionary tale of how important it is to come forward sooner than later.
See, for me, when you're dealing with Hollywood, you're dealing with a slippery slope, especially back in the 70s, 80s, when all they did was party. You know what I mean? Party, party, party. And everybody wants to sleep with the person who's higher up to try to get. So, you know what I mean?
In a better position.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So if you want to say that, you can't have it both ways. Do you want to sit on this information and further your career, or do you want to bring justice to the person who victimized you? Well, what's more important to you?
When do I start feeling like a victim? Then that's the key part. Do I feel like a victim right away, or do I feel like
if you are a victim, you start feeling like a victim immediately. Like there's no when do I start feeling like a victim.
According to Andrea Constand, she felt like a victim immediately.
Situation back in my head.
Well, for this specific, Andrea Constand, she felt like a victim immediately. So.
Oh well.
I thought we was talking about the other girls though.
Oh, the other girls? I don't know.
From back in the day.
Yeah. I don't know.
See, the Andrea Constantine, whoever her name is, the thing that messed up about her is she went after the money first. And they gave Bill Cosby that deal to have him say some shit so he could get immunity.
And to be honest with you, I think she probably would have wanted criminal charges, but I don't think that they had enough on him to criminally charge him. So then she filed the civil suit and she got her money.
And it's sad because it's sad that like you said, it happened this late in his life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Even just seeing the older man go to jail like that ain't touching on nobody and doing nothing weird. It was hard to see him have to do those 2 years when you knew that other people was out that should have been in jail. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm glad he's out of jail. I feel like a man like that doesn't need to die inside of jail. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. We'll see what happens because I think he's going to sue them.
He is. He's already started a lawsuit.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think rightfully so because his rights were violated.
That's 2+ years in jail.
Yeah. And I feel like he's gonna get his money.
I was about to say that. Hey, I swear I was about to say that. Do you think he's going to get his $3 million back?
Yep.
Period.
That's why I can't understand why you would do something tricky when it comes to the law. Because if that shit don't work, everything's fucked up. They were saying that Maxine Waters shit might come back to haunt with the Derek Chauvin case.
I don't think so. I
can't even remember what she said.
What did you say, Tavi? I didn't hear you.
What Maxine Waters said about the Derek Chauvin case.
What did she
Yeah,
say?
that's what the one dude, I forget what his name was. He was on Joe Rogan, but I feel like this is comparing apples to oranges. I do not agree with that at all.
Yeah, because the one thing is that he actually signed something for Bill Cosby to get the immunity.
And if that was the case, then the judge in the Chauvin case, he had multiple opportunities to have that jury sequester, and he chose not to do so.
True.
No.
I said that's what it should have been from the rip. From the rip.
Definitely.
No.
So,
I think the guy who was on Joe Rogan, I forgot his name, but he was grasping for straws there. Because he made false equivalency between the two cases. That's my opinion.
well, all righty then.
What else we got? We done with Cosby? Is there anything else?
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing. I really like how D.L. Hughley was able to remove his feelings about the situation because, he got long-standing beef with Bill Cosby, but he definitely addressed the situation with a level head and was talking about the same things that we were talking about today, about how they wronged him. So shout out to D.L. Hughley for real.
Okay.
A lot of people are like living in their feelings about this situation, but to look at it in a different way, I think it's better for you to remove your feelings and just try to look at the facts.
Because those are the very things that people are fighting for. They violated his rights. That's what the fight is about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To have equal rights, so that's all.
Yeah, and I think there was another person that I was listening to, and I can't remember their name right off the top of my head, but they were like, well, what if it was your brother, your sister, your father, mother, whoever, who they got a deal to where they would serve maybe 5 years, and then the 5 years is almost up, and they decide to flip the script and say, well, the crime that you committed, it was so heinous, 5 years is really not enough. You're going to have to just stay in and do the full 10. You feel like that's wrong, right?
Wait, say that again, what you just said.
If you had like a relative and basically they changed the rules of the game in the middle of the game. Right?
Who did?
That happens a lot.
This is hypothetically.
Oh, okay.
They changed because that's essentially what they did to Cosby. He thought he had immunity based on the agreement that he previously had. They changed the rules of the game in the middle of the game and convicted him based on something that they promised that they would not bring charges on prior. So if it was one of your loved ones, you would feel like that was unfair. So like, I know that there's a big public outcry, but at the same time, either you want to play by the rules, or like, how should I put this? We always want the legal system to be fair to us, right? But then we can't pick and choose just because there was, and I know there was a countless amount of women who came forward and said that he did something to them. But at the same time, the legal system was not fair to him.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want? Do you want the conviction based on this public outcry?
Feelings. You want the conviction based on feelings or fairness, or what's right?
Look at it like a football game. Like if the Steelers get caught for holding, it's a bad call. But if like the Ravens get caught for holding, they was holding all fucking game. That's what they did.
Yeah.
So if it's about favor, yeah, right on. But if it's in my favor, they cheating.
Yeah. Good analogy. Yes, exactly.
So it's messed up that we gotta play like sides on things because our emotions get involved. But that's how it is. It is what it is. Feelings always involved.
Yeah. I don't know. It's never a good idea to live in your feelings, guys.
No, especially if you hold a position where you can, especially if you are in a position where it involves somebody else's livelihood. Your feelings shouldn't be your feelings should not be involved.
Right.
And you got denied probation, everything. Like, as
Mm-hmm.
far as the get out during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to say, I guess it's easy for people to say your feelings shouldn't be involved, but that's how it should be.
That man could have died though in jail. Like 2 years is a long time.
To be honest, that's what I thought was going to happen. To be honest, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen.
And guess what? If he'd have died in jail, nobody would have never brought up that he had immunity.
Nope.
It was just
but you know what though? There at the time that he was on trial in 2018, nobody brought it up. It just so happened I knew about it because I read an article about it, and I was like, "What? Like, that's crazy." But there wasn't nobody talking about that.
Swipe it under the rug.
So, I don't know. Okay, we're at an hour. Do we got anything else, or do we want to keep, going? We want to shut it down. What y'all want to do?
Do y'all got anything else?
I kind of want to leave because I'm hungry, but just listen, I wanted to talk to you about that Miss Jones interview.
Oh, that's a good one. I watched the Miss Jones interview. Did both of you watch it?
I watched it. Kenya, did you
watch it? Who is it, Miss Jones and who?
Miss Jones on Drink Champs. I sent you guys the link last weekend. It was really good.
That was, you listen. You could tell why her and Wendy Williams is friends.
Yeah, you can. She did not hold back. There was a specific incident where she spilled all the tea at the end of the interview, and my jaw dropped. Did yours drop?
About what? Yeah, I didn't watch it.
I definitely almost cried on that part.
Did you? Oh my goodness, I did too.
Yeah.
What was said? Y'all could tell me. I'll still watch it, but I'm just saying, have at it.
So, long story short, at the end of that, because Nori is really close friends with Fat Joe and was close with Big Pun and stuff like that. Well, yes. Revelation was exposed on the Drink Champs podcast that Miss Jones and Big Pun were basically in love with each other. And he came back to her house like every night, like after he did what he was doing. She has publishing off of his album, so she still gets money to this day.
She told her brother, she told her son, like, the house we live in is because of Big Pun.
We getting money because of Big Pun. Right now, you was raised off of Big Pun, and I was like, what?
Even the part like
this is like because he's been married. You know what I'm saying? And
yes, and there was a point in time I felt like that they were struggling or something like was going on. Cause like I feel like his daughter, it was a reality show or something.
But they never slept.
But go ahead.
They never slept together.
She said they had never, ever slept together. But even and Miss Jones, she was saying that she was thankful and that she wasn't going to bring it up, but she's really happy that Nori was there to co-sign it, because Nori was even said, like, I feel crazy bringing this up, and I know there's going to be people mad at me for bringing this up, but
even
he went into it, and he was like, I saw y'all's relationship. He was like, he was like, don't forget, I lived right there, and even though I was young, I seen him going to your house every night. I seen the way he looked at you, and I knew, like, that y'all loved each other.
Listen, Kenya, she was about to get dropped from a record label. He went on one of her songs to get on the remix so she could go on tour with him just so she could get money. Like he set it up to where she could get money. So I don't know. That story was a real nice story.
It was.
Oh, well, that was nice. I'll go back and listen to it tomorrow.
And she was just saying that due to how her career went, that's probably, like, she probably would have never had no opportunity to go on tour ever if it had not been for him.
That's what she said.
Oh, well, shout out to Big Pun.
I was like, who knew her and Big Pun were like in love with each other?
But Miss Jones is a little bit before my era. Like, she's cool. Like,
I remember her kind of, but she was. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I remember her, but she was like, what Hot 97 was killing them, I really didn't pay attention to radio like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But you should watch the interview, Drink Champs with Miss Jones from beginning to end, because she is spilling all kinds of tea. I just felt like that was the jaw dropper for me, because I'm like close to the end of the interview and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, that one was big. The beginning though, I didn't know too about Mary J. Blige.
I didn't know that part either, but we're gonna save that.
What'd she say?
No, you better watch it, Kenya. You want
okay.
Yeah, let's go. Go
ahead and tell her.
No, I ain't gonna tell her. She can watch it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
She might cut it off after that though, because she's like a Mary fan.
I am
a Mary J. Blige fan too, but
what did she say? They had a thing?
That was a juicy story. No, they
never. Yeah. All right. Well, what else we got?
I didn't have anything else.
I ain't got nothing else either.
All right, because I need to get something in my stomach.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
It
was nice being back.
It was nice being back.
Yes.
Love you guys.
Kenya. Great cookout too. Great.
Thank you.
We hope.
No, thank you guys.
After you get over being so tired, you decide to do another one.
That was a lot of work.
It was nice.
It was a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. I don't got no complaint.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
all right. Well, this is the O.P.O.V podcast. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. But make sure you comment. We look at the comments. We want to hear what you have to say about the stuff we talked about today. Make sure you comment, and we will definitely respond.
Don't comment about Bill Cosby.
Don't comment about Bill Cosby. Definitely. If anybody got any topics that they want to talk about, they could drop it in the comments as well.
Yeah, drop it in the comments. If there's something you want to talk about, hit us up on our Facebook, inbox us. We also have Instagram, O.P.O.V.
Relationship advice.
Get at us any way you can. We love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to y'all later.
All right. Peace.
Bye.